Okay, so joining us now for more, once again, Harvard University astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb. Dr. Loeb, thanks for being back again. Are you able to confirm that the images that the Mars rover took of 3I Atlas Thursday and Friday of last week, so 6-7 days ago, have yet to be released? Is that accurate?
Well, thanks for having me. It's actually not just the Mars rover, it's also the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is actually moving around Mars. And that has a very high-resolution camera called HiRISE that could get a pixel size of 30 kilometers on 3I Atlas.
Right.
So that is really the best that is yet to come out.
But Dr. Loeb, do we have the pictures? Here we are almost a week later. Have you seen them?
So in fact, the only information we get is from the Europeans. There is the European Space Agency that released some data which is inferior to the NASA data, and they are saying that indeed the HiRISE camera captured an image of good data on October 2nd. However, the principal investigator of that camera said that he cannot communicate the information to the public because of the government shutdown. Now, that of course raises some concerns that maybe they know something and do not want to let us know about it. And my interpretation is that it's probably not flagging extraterrestrial intelligence. It most likely is the result of terrestrial stupidity.
You think, I don't buy the shutdown excuse. That to me is really suspicious 8 days later that NASA hasn't released these photos. It's not like nobody is at NASA right now is able to do this. We did get one report that as 3I Atlas gets closer now to the sun, telescopes here on Earth are picking up other objects flying alongside it. Is that accurate?
Well, there are always objects. The question is whether we see unusual activity. And in fact, I tasked my research team at the Galileo project to monitor the sky for any unusual activity, because it's possible that if it's an alien probe, that in fact it would release some mini probes that will visit the planets.
Yeah.
You know, we should not assume anything. It's a blind date, and we should watch the other side, you know, just in case there is a serial killer there.
Okay, let me ask you about that. On what date will we know what this thing is doing? When does it reemerge from the other side of the sun?
Right. So during the month of November, it will come close to another spacecraft called JUICE on its way towards Jupiter. Then on October 29th, it will come closest to the sun. Then that's when it will be heated by sunlight the most. And that's when it can do a maneuver, taking advantage of the gravitational assist from the sun. And then on December 19th, just a week before Christmas, it will be closest to Earth. Not very close, at 1.8 times the Earth-Sun separation. However, the hundreds of observatories on Earth and the telescopes we have in space will get the best data on December 19th.
Yeah, so
wait for that. And then finally, I should say...
Wait, so hold on. Just what date? When does it reemerge from the other side of the sun? When does that happen? December 19th?
That will happen early November.
Or early November. Okay, so we'll know. And if the thing does bank to the right, that means it's not a comet. That means it's heading toward Earth. Then what?
Yeah, definitely, because so far, you know, I analyzed last week all the 4,000 data points from 227 observatories on Earth, and it looks like the object did not maneuver at all. It didn't deviate from a trajectory sculpted by gravity alone.
Okay.
To a very high precision. So any significant deviation from what we expect it to do would be a technological signature, and we should watch it.
All right. Dr. Avi Loeb, we appreciate you being with us. We'll have you back as this thing gets closer to the sun and then re-emerging at the end of November. Thank you.
The implications would be huge to humanity. That's why we have to monitor it.
I would say so, and that's why we are continuing to track this story. That's our job. That's what we're supposed to do. Dr. Loeb, keep in touch. Thank you.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news, no spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax.